You've been told that you need executive presence, that if you just spoke more confidently, more clearly, you dressed the part, you commanded the room better, people would follow you. But here's what I've learned after working with dozens of C-suite and government leaders. Executive presence isn't something that you perform, it's something that you embody when you know who you are, when you know what you bring to the table, when you have a strong foundation and a clear identity. Today, I'm going to break down why the advice you've been given about executive presence is actually what's keeping you stuck and in performance mode, and what creates the kind of authority people feel in the room. Hi, my name is Tammy Imlay, and this is a Leader's Purpose podcast. Most people are taught that we should stand taller, speak with more authority, use power poses. This is one that I had a couple of coaches early in when I started my business talk about how a power pose is what you need. You need to, before you walk into a room, before you go on Zoom, before you talk to people, physically strike a pose. And yes, it does give you that sense of, okay, here we go. It gets you prepared for the moment. But does it give you presence? We don't really know if that's true. Back to the list. Stand taller, speak with authority, dress for the role, and master vocal tonality. And then simply control the room. This is why it fails. All of that advice treats leadership like a performance. If you just nail the choreography, people will believe you belong. The people I work with who have all of that, and they're still paralyzed by self-doubt. They walk into the boardroom looking the part, sounding the part, and inside they're wondering when someone's going to realize they're faking it. I think back to my military days where we all dressed alike. And it wasn't those who were the loudest or had the best hair, since we all wore the same thing, stood the tallest that commanded the room. It was those who knew their strengths, who could speak clearly, who had such alignment with who they are that people wanted to follow. Because executive presence built on performance is exhausting, and it requires you to be, it creates a performance, and it requires you to be on all the time. And the moment you're not performing perfectly, self-doubt creeps back in. The real issue isn't that you lack presence. It's that you're trying to protect an identity that you haven't fully embodied. You're trying to project a identity that you haven't fully clarified, and people can feel the difference. So here's the core truth. Present isn't about how you show up. It's about who shows up. When you're leading from your authentic identity, when there's alignment between who you are and the role you're playing, people can feel it. They trust it. They follow it. They want to be led by you. When you're performing a role that's misaligned with who you actually are, people can sense the gap. They may respect the title, but they don't feel your authority, and also trust starts to erode. The difference between executive presence and executive performance is the difference between aligned with who you are, and they can trust it, they can follow it, and trying to play a part, and they don't feel the authority. So what actually creates presence? I'm glad you asked, because there's actually the three elements of authentic presence that you can start to adapt to, you can start to step into right now, that you don't have to wait to look the part. You don't have to get a new wardrobe. You don't have to go get a new haircut. You don't have to stand taller. Stand tall. It just feels good. But you don't have to in order to command presence. So what are the three elements of authentic presence? One is identity clarity. You can't lead with conviction if you don't know what convicts you. If you don't know who you are, not the role, not the title, then and you don't know what you value, how are you going to lead through that? And most executives skip this step. They spend 20 years becoming the leader everyone needed them to be, and they never actually asked, who am I underneath all of this armor? So when I work with clients, the first thing we do is uncover their core identity. We talk about core motivations, core fears, core desires, core strengths, what drives them, what values them, how they're wired. Because once you have clarity on who you are, the how becomes so much more natural. The how it unveils itself, and you don't have to strive to figure it out because it's just there. It's just you. You stop trying to be the leader you think you should be, and you get to start being the leader you actually are and the leader you want to be. So the second is the belief alignment. The second piece is belief work. Because if you're walking to a boardroom thinking, I don't belong here, what if they realize I'm a fraud? I don't know if I got this promotion or if I deserved it, or if I'm ready for this promotion. That belief will undermine everything. It'll undermine your authority. It'll undermine your decisions. It'll undermine your credibility. It'll undermine the trust you're trying to build with your team and the culture you're trying to build in your organization. You can have perfect posture, perfect tonality, and perfect eye contact. But if your internal belief system is saying you're not enough, people will feel that incongruence. And presence require internal conviction. I don't think we lead enough with conviction. I don't think in this day and age where there's so many, like, what do you know to be true? What do you value? How do you want to treat your people? Not what did the leadership books say, not what the latest training said, but actually how your people need you to lead. And that means rewiring some of the limiting beliefs that keep you second guessing yourself. And so the third one is embodiment. This is where most leadership programs stop. So they skip the first one, they skip identity clarity. They maybe touch on belief a little bit, but then they just stop right before embodiment. And this, they give you the tools, they give you the tactics, but they don't help you embody the shift. And it's the embodiment that changes things. It's the embody that means the transformation isn't something that you think about, it's something that you are. When you've done the identity work, because let's face it, we've all done some identity work. We've all journaled in different things, but if we don't pair it with our belief work, then our presence stops at being something you project, and it becomes something you inhibit. It's just something you stop. When you walk into a room differently because you are different, not performing, not proving, not putting on a performance, not just on the choreography, but really just present, just being you, showing up at whatever's coming your way, whatever your people have going on in their life. They can feel that they can come to you. They trust because they know what to expect from you. So you're not performing, you're not proving, you're just present. And here's the pattern. Here's the pattern that I really see is that I've noticed that almost every C-suite leader I work with, the moment they say, I just need more executive presence, what they're actually saying is, I don't feel like I belong here. And that's not a presence problem, that's an identity crisis. You've been promoted into the role that requires, they've been promoted into the role that requires them to be someone they're not sure they are. The title says C-suite. The internal identity says, I'm still figuring it out. Sorry, my notes were all jumbled there. Yeah, for some reason, all of my notes got jumbled. Here we go. I'm just going to pick up where I left off. Back to my outline. The real pattern I see is the fact that they don't need more presence. It's the feeling, it's the identity crisis that they're experiencing. They've been promoted into the role that requires them to be someone they're not sure they are. The title says C-suite. The internal identity says, I'm still figuring this out. And that gap, that's what kills presence. Because you can't fake alignment. You can't perform confidence. You can mimic authority. You can do what other people are doing and that's working for them, but you can't fake the grounded certainty that comes from knowing exactly who you are and leading from that place, from exactly where your core values, your strengths, and knowing that no matter what is going on around you, what drama comes your way, you have a firm foundation to stand on. And the cost of performance-based leadership is a lot. The cost of performance-based leadership is It's exhausting. And when you lead from performance instead of identity, here's what's going to happen. Every decision feels like it could expose you. You're exhausted from being on all the time. You avoid bold moves because you feel being wrong or making a misstep. Your team respects your title, but doesn't fully trust your leadership. And you go home feeling like an imposter. That's the cost of misalignment. And no amount of executive presence and standing tall is going to fix it. So how do you build real presence? How do you build the identity clarity, belief alignment, and embodiment? This is why I created the Shine framework. It's not just about teaching you how to act like a leader, it's about helping you become one from the inside out. So, Shine, it's an acronym, military, right? See with strategic clarity. You uncover who you actually are, your wiring, your values, your core identity, your strengths. You hone your conviction. We rewire the limiting beliefs that are undermining your authority. I is integrate identity and impact. You align your authentic self with your leadership role so that it stops feeling like a performance and starts feeling more effortless. You navigate with intentionality. That's the N. You build the decision making frameworks rooted in your identity, not someone else's playbook, not another leadership training, not even a leadership book that is a bestseller. You look at what your decision making framework is. And then E is embodied aligned leadership. You fully inhabit your leadership. No more performing, no proving, just presence. You embody the fact that you got there for a reason, that you have some skills and a zone of genius that now you get to ooze it. You get to be you. And this is what creates the kind of authority people can feel in the room. Not because you're performing, it's because you are the executive, fully aligned with who you are and ready to go forward, ready to crush those goals and to help your team work together, help your team feel alive and your culture experience in a way that everyone wants to come to work. Would you have a leader who is aligned and strong and clear? People want to follow them. It's easy to get them on board with your vision when they know they can trust you. So if you've been told that you need more executive presence, you've tried all the tactics, but are still feeling like you're performing instead of leading, here's what I want you to consider. The problem isn't your presence. It's the misalignment between who you are and the role you're trying to play. And the solution isn't another training on how to command the room. It's identity work, this root level work that eliminates the gap between the leader everyone sees and the person you feel like inside. Because when you lead from alignment, your presence isn't something that you have to think about. It's just who you are. If you're navigating a career defining transition, promotion, a merger, a moment when self-doubt becomes organizationally expensive, and you're ready to stop performing and start leading from your authentic identity, let's chat. Book your Align Leadership call at tammymurraycoaching.com/call. 45 minutes, no pitch, just strategic clarity on your aligned next step. And Tammy, thank you. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, you don't need more executive presence. You need more. You don't need to try what everyone else says is working. You need to know what your core values, your core motivations, you need to know how you're wired. And then you can just be. So if you're interested, get on a call. And just thank you so much for being here at A Leader's Purpose podcast. If you have not left me a rate and a review, I would appreciate it so much. If you're watching on YouTube, click the little bell and get updated, I don't even know what it's called. I guess get subscribe and get notified when I drop a new video. So there we go. I'm still learning all of the YouTube lingo. I've been doing podcasting for, I think it's been almost 5 years now. Almost 5 years? I've been doing it for a while. Anyway, squirrel, back on track. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time and I can't wait to talk to you soon. Choose joy till joy chooses you. Bye for now.